They laughed, they packed, they prayed. Well, some of them did. By the time the bus flipped on that dark December highway, only one thing stood between life and death: a prayer whispered in faith. This isn't just another travel story. This is a wake-up call. Students, before you travel this December, before you hop on that night bus or rush off for Christmas, you need to hear what happened to 6 friends whose entire world changed in one night. This story will shake you. And maybe, just maybe, it'll save you. December was always the best time of the year for university students. The semester had just ended, the last papers had been turned in, and campus corridors buzzed with excitement. For many, it was time to return home, to family, festivities, and familiar smiles. But for a group of 6 friends from Meadowfield University, this particular December would change their lives forever. Meet the squad. Eudora, the calm and spiritual one. Everyone called her Mama Adu, because she always had that wise, motherly tone. Tiga, the joker with a loud laugh, never serious but deeply loyal. Chuka, the techie, always with earbuds in and backpack full of gadgets. Bisola, stylish and sassy, full of fire and dreams. Emeka, the introvert, who mostly tagged along but had a heart of gold. Yemi, the planner, neat, organized, always the one to book buses, hotels, even group study sessions. It was December 15th. Exams had ended. Laughter echoed through Hall 3 as the friends packed their bags, snapped pictures and made plans. They had all booked a night bus from Lagos to Enugu to save money and arrive early for the Christmas festivities. Eudora, pray oh. You know you're our spiritual leader, Bisola said playfully, throwing her curly wig into her suitcase. Eudora chuckled. You people always remember prayer when it's time to travel. But deep inside, she had been feeling uneasy. A quiet nudge in her spirit. Something she couldn't explain. That morning she had woken up from a dream. She saw a road, a bus, and darkness swallowing the road ahead. She didn't understand it. But she felt a weight in her chest. I'm serious, Mama Adu, Yemi added. Just say something. You know how these December roads are. People drive like it's fast and furious. So they all gathered. Luggage scattered around. Heads bowed in the middle of room 215. Eudora prayed slowly at first, then deeper. Father, go before us. Cover us with your blood. Shield us from reckless drivers, from accidents, from every unseen danger. We will arrive safely in Jesus' name. Amen. They chorused, some half joking but respectful. They left for the terminal by 6:30 p.m. The night air was thick with December energy, people laughing, hawkers yelling gala, and pure water, and the buzz of travelers eager to go home. Their bus, Royal Crossline, was a white Toyota coaster, clean, with blue curtains and that faint scent of air freshener mixed with engine oil. The driver, a stout man in his 50s with tribal marks, introduced himself as Baba Whale. I no day rush. I day carry una go house, no be to heaven, he joked. Everyone laughed. They settled in. Bisola and Yemi near the window, Eudora in the middle, Chuka already dozing off with his headphones in. Tiga was videoing himself with Emeka in the background, narrating for Snapchat. We day go house oh. No more exams, no more stress. No enjoyment straight. By 8:30 p.m., the bus pulled out of the terminal. Street lights faded. Lagos began to dissolve behind them. The road ahead stretched like a promise, or a warning. As the city lights dimmed, the quietness settled in. Only the humming of tires and the low buzz of conversation. Around 11:45 p.m., somewhere near Or, the driver pulled over for a quick bathroom and snack break. Tiga jumped off first. I need suya, he declared, already bargaining before the others even unbuckled. Yemi pulled Eudora aside. I know this might sound weird, but I've been feeling kind of, uneasy, since we left Lagos. You too? Eudora nodded slowly. Since morning. I even dreamt of something dark. I don't know what it means, but we really need to keep praying. They both stood there in the cool night, silently watching the stars. A kind of silence that wasn't peaceful, more like the pause before a scream. Back on the bus, The driver announced they were continuing the journey. "Seat belts on, everyone," Yemi reminded. Emeka helped Bisola fasten hers. Tiga slid into his seat with a bottle of Coke and a mouthful of meat. Chuka had recharged his phone with a power bank and resumed his game. They rolled into the night. Then came the turn. It was around 2:10 a.m. The road curved sharply without warning. Suddenly, the bus jolted violently. "Scree!" People screamed. Bags flew. The bus swerved like a drunken beast. And then, boom! The next thing Edeora heard was a deafening crash. Screams. A woman crying, "Jesus! Jesus!" Glass shattered like 1,000 angry stars. The metal twisted, folded in like paper. And darkness. Silence. When Edeora opened her eyes, she was lying on the ground, face scratched, head spinning. The bus, or what remained of it, lay on its side in a ditch. One side crumpled. Wheels still turning. Smoke rising. She could hear groans. Cries. Someone calling for help. She dragged herself up. "Yemi! Oh my!" she screamed, staggering toward the wreck. "No, no, please not like this," she cried out, voice breaking. She found Chuka, blood on his forehead but breathing. "Help," he whispered. Bisola was slumped against a window, unconscious. She turned, and saw Tiga crawling out through the shattered side window, limping. "I think my leg," he gasped. "But where's Emeka? Where's Yemi?" "Help is coming," Edeora whispered, though she wasn't sure. In the distance, a faint beam of light. A truck, maybe. Or another traveler. She sank to her knees and sobbed. Then her phone buzzed. Despite the cracked screen, she saw it. A single notification. "Pray now." Her Bible app. A silent alarm she had set weeks ago. A simple reminder that now felt like the voice of God. She pressed her hands together. And in the cold, smoky night, with wreckage and wailing around her, Edeora began to pray. Not out of habit. Not out of fear. But with a heart that had seen the edge of death. Her words were shaky, but real. "Lord, don't let them die. Please, save us." That was when she heard it. Soft, familiar voice. "I'm here." It was Yemi. Barely able to walk, blood on his arm, but smiling faintly. "I thought I lost you," Edeora said through tears. "Not yet," he whispered. And together they knelt beside their friends, waiting for help to arrive. Their clothes torn, bodies bruised, but hearts somehow still beating. That night they learned something powerful. Prayer wasn't just something you did out of tradition before traveling. It was a shield, force, lifeline. The December road didn't care who you were. Rich, poor, Christian, atheist, young, old. But prayer reached places seatbelts couldn't. It had been 3 days since the accident. The hospital in Benin was a flurry of activity. Nurses pushing trolleys. Doctors calling for x-rays. The smell of antiseptic and rubber gloves filled the air. But inside Ward 6B it was different. There was silence. That sacred kind of silence that falls when people are awake but emotionally numb. The 6 friends were all present. Physically, at least. Tiga had a cast on his leg and sat by the window, staring into the open sky. Chuka was still wearing a neck brace and had stitches above his eyebrow. Bisola, bruised but conscious, lay on her side, barely speaking. Yemi's arm was bandaged, and he winced any time someone touched his shoulder. Emeka, the quiet one, had suffered a concussion. He was awake but disoriented. And Edeora. She was sitting in a plastic chair, Bible in hand, lips quietly moving. She hadn't stopped praying since the crash. They all had different memories of the night. Some heard the driver shout before the bus lost control. Some remembered the sound of another vehicle speeding toward them. Some, like Emeka, remembered nothing at all. But they all remembered fear. Real fear. The kind that grabs your throat and squeezes. "Guys," Edeora finally spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "We're alive." No one responded immediately. Then Tiga gave a bitter laugh. "Alive but broken." Chuka shook his head slowly. "Not broken. Spared." Emeka turned toward Adeora, eyes glassy. You prayed, didn't you? When it happened. I think I heard you. She nodded. I prayed before. Prayed during. Prayed after. It was all I could do. They fell silent again, the weight of what they had escaped sinking deeper. That morning a nurse brought in a man. Dark-skinned, bald, maybe in his 50s. He walked slowly with a cane and introduced himself as Inspector Kode, the officer handling their case. We recovered the dashcam footage, he said. You kids were lucky. Lucky, Yemi repeated, eyebrows raised. Your driver swerved to avoid a trailer that crossed into your lane without headlights, the inspector explained. He saved your lives. Unfortunately, he didn't survive. The room froze. No, Adeora whispered. Yes, the inspector continued solemnly. Baba Whale took the full hit on his side to protect the bus. He died on the spot. Tears welled up in Bisola's eyes. Tiga closed his eyes and leaned his head against the wall. He made a decision in seconds, Inspector Kode added. Some say it was experience, but I believe it was something more. Because only 2 other passengers on that bus were critically injured. The rest of you walked away. That's not common in accidents like this. He paused, then looked at Adeora. You prayed before you left. She nodded silently. He gave a small smile. Don't stop. And then he left. Weeks later, back on campus, something had changed. The friends returned one by one, not with the same carefree laughter they had left with, but with a deeper sense of awareness. The usual buzz of December had passed, but their memories lingered like fresh ink on paper. In their own ways, they began to live differently. Tiga, who used to joke about everything, now started attending Bible study. Not because I've turned saint, he'd say, but because I know there's someone watching over me. Bisola became gentler, softer. Her social media posts shifted from selfies to scriptures. She'd tell anyone who asked, there's nothing cute about dying young. Chuka built an app, a travel companion that sends daily devotional alerts and offers real-time accident reports on highways. He named it Safe Steps. Yemi stopped over-planning. He now left space for God's plan, not just his Google Calendar. Emeka began writing poetry about life, about close calls, about the fragility of time. And Adeora. She started a movement on campus called Pray Before You Move. A community where students gather weekly to pray before any travel, exams, job interviews, or major life changes. The accident had given them scars, but it had also given them purpose. Fast forward to December 1 year later. The 6 friends gathered at Adeora's house for Christmas. This time, no one rushed to book night buses. They planned early, traveled in daylight, and prayed before the journey. As they sat around the table, laughter returned. This time deeper, more grateful. Mama Adu, Tiga teased. Remember how you warned us last year? You saved our lives. No, she smiled. God saved us. I was just the one crazy enough to listen. They all held hands. Let's pray, Yemi said quietly. No one argued. No one rolled their eyes. And as they bowed their heads, a gentle peace filled the room. Not the kind that comes from being safe, but the kind that comes from knowing that even in the chaos, God is still in control. Don't wait for tragedy to make you spiritual. Don't wait until your car skids or your bus crashes to remember God. Pray before you pack your bag. Pray before you board that bus or plane. Prayer won't just protect your journey, it will change your destination. Because sometimes the road ahead doesn't warn you, but prayer does.